Welcome back to Smok'n Jay's Garage. This young lady is here once again to have more things done to her car.
Yay.
So she wanted a chrome delete. So we got graphics over all of her chrome, the doorknobs, all of this was chrome. We got the windows tinted. And we were going to do a tutorial on how to do that. This is a big job. It is way more in-depth than I thought it was going to be, probably more than you thought it was going to be. If you are excellent at putting on graphics and you want to attempt this, you don't need me to show you how. If you're on YouTube looking for a tutorial on how to do this, no offense, it's too big of a job. You are going to get halfway into it, you're going to get 6 minutes into it, and you're going to be like, what have I done? Bring it to a professional, okay? Honestly, bring it to a professional. It did turn out pretty good. Are you happy with the way it turned out?
Yes.
Okay, we got the back emblem, the dual motors, that is all done. All of this was chrome. Even the window tinting. This window goes way up here, and you've got to blend the new tint into what was already tinted from the factory. Have a professional do that. That is my solemn advice to you. What we are going to do, I'm sorry. Oh, the mirrors and the signal lights.
Yes.
And we did this in a flat black, and it turned out very good.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work. It's a big job. What we are going to show you today how to do is we are going to do, we've got carbon fiber. This is a vinyl wrap, 3M. That's going to go over the wooden dash. And then we also have one that's going to go in the center console. We're going to break this up into 2 videos so that if you want to just do one or the other, you can pick the video you want. You don't have to listen to all my rambling in between. You don't have the pieces yet, but we're going to do the steering wheel also. Is that correct? Is that also going to be carbon fiber?
Yes.
Okay. So we are going to take an alcohol swab and we are going to clean up this really good. And then that's where we're going to get started on that. So we cleaned this out with an alcohol swab or towel and rubbing alcohol. You are going to want to change your air that is coming out of these vents to either come out of your bottom vents or shut them off completely, because you don't want even the slightest bit of air blowing on this, maybe moving around some dust or hindering you trying to get this set in. Now I'm going to take some tape here just to help me keep an eye on this. I'm going to give myself plenty of room, and I'm just going to tape this over here, and then we're going to go actually start on the other side. We are going to peel back a little bit here. I'm just going to kind of fold that over so it's out of the way. Now the most important part here is getting this started, which is going to be the other side. I got this on backwards. We're going to, hold on, we're going to switch this around. So we had that on backwards. You were supposed to be watching that, right?
I'm just here for the stick on it.
Don't get perverted. She means the mug, all right? So this is the reason why we don't peel all of this back, because we would have been super screwed. But make sure you have this on the right way. Obviously, this is going to kind of line up with that. So now we're going to do it for real, okay? And it also says top driver's side start here. So we should have maybe...
That would have been a good indication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Read the directions.
Yeah.
So we're going to pull this back a couple inches. We're going to fold it over. Now the most important thing, the second most important thing is get it started from the right side.
Right, but now we've got that.
Second most important thing here is to get this lined up properly, because then everything will help to be aligned. Make sure that the wood is completely covered, but none of the silver trim is covered. If you look here real close, I've got a tiny bit of wood showing there. I'm going to peel this off and I'm going to realign it. Take your time aligning this. If it takes you like 5 or 10 minutes, 3-4 tries, don't let that bother you. This needs to be perfect.
I like that word, perfect.
If you take a look now at what we have, that is perfect. That is what we want. There is no wood showing. There is no trim being covered up. So we are going to go ahead and squeegee this down a little bit. Now on both edges, you'll see that there's a slice here. We're always going to fold the bottom in towards the steering wheel so that the top of it will be folded out towards the edges and covered up when the door is closed. So you will notice we are going to go ahead and fold this in. We're going to tuck this in over here with our squeegee. Push that all the way in so that you get it nice and smooth looking. And then what we're going to do is we're going to line this up here on the bottom. We're going to run this on the bottom all the way across, and then we are going to smooth it out on the top. And I will show you a couple of different clips as we go through so that you can see what we're doing, but I'm not going to make you watch this whole thing because this is probably going to take about 20 minutes. So we'll just, we'll cut back in a few times here, okay? The hardest part is probably getting here by the steering wheel because there's really no place to hold it. What I like to do is just kind of work it towards, because we want a nice solid seam here, and try to get this over here. Obviously when we get farther along we will switch to the other side. Notice I'm leaving this kind of open, but after I get a little ways down and I can feel that I've got a nice obviously even seam over here, I'm going to take my squeegee. Don't worry about folding it over. We're just going to squeegee this nice and tight over here, but all this, we'll tuck all this in afterwards. Leave this, leave that open for now, and if you need to, you know, peel a couple inches off and put it back so that you get a nice even. You don't want anything overlapped and you don't want any wood showing. Get your squeegee in there nice, run it real nice along there. Make sure you get a nice even seal on that. And that little bit there, we'll trim that off on the end because we'll have a piece probably on the other side too that we'll have to trim off to make it perfect. But just take your time and just keep working it down. Once you get to the end of the trim over here by the tablet, you're going to want to switch over to the other side. So we switched to the other side, we lined it up right there, and then we squeegeed out any air bubbles that would be in between there behind the tablet.
Go.
Try not to stretch the fabric, not fabric, what's the word I'm looking for?
The graphic?
Graphic. Okay, try not to stretch that as you're going along. If you do, I'll show you what to do at the end. It's going to be a little bit too long maybe. Also, once you peel the rest of the backing off, you want to be careful not to let it stick to itself because that will be very hard to get apart. And again, just keep taking your time setting this down here. You got to make sure that you line up perfectly with this line. And I'll show you what it looks like when we get to the end again. Alright, so we got this pretty much all the way across here. We've got all of our air bubbles out. Now we're ready to get this side in. If you look, we've stretched it out just a little bit as we're pulling, so we've got a little bit too much on the end here. We're going to trim this off with the scissors just a tiny bit. And we are also, they've got cuts that they made here to fold these in. Now these cuts don't line up where we want them, so we are going to make our own cut right there. And then we're going to trim this tiny bit off and we'll fold this over, and then we'll show you how to tuck in that back side too. So we've got this over here, we've got a little bit overhanging right here, and we are going to go and trim that off with a razor blade. Take your time, make sure that this is perfect. Don't hit your razor blade on here, it will scratch it. You got to take your time here and make this perfect, because if you don't, it will bother me.
It will bother me too.
Alright, we got that corner about as perfect as we can get it. Looks nice and straight. We don't have any wood showing. Now we're just going to tuck in this top. Alright, the only thing we have to do now is tuck this in. You can see maybe I've got some of it already tucked in. You're going to force it over to the edge and kind of fold it over. Once you get that folded over, you're going to want to put your squeegee right in there and just press firmly against that edge. Get that a good seal over there. Just keep working your way over. Folding that over the edge, and then right along that edge you should get a nice good seal. You're going to want to, when you're all done, keep your squeegee handy, because we did this out of the sun on a cooler day so that we could lift up the wrap if we needed to at all without it sticking quite as good. Once you get into the sun and into some heat, it's really going to make that stick. but it might bubble up just a little bit, and in the event that it does, you want to go ahead and push out any air bubbles that we may have missed and make sure that you get a nice seal. So we are going to go ahead and run over our squeegee one more time, make sure that it's all good. If you want to take a look at it, this is basically what it's looking like, and this is how you do it. We're just going to run over one more time, just make sure we got all the air bubbles out, and that's how you put on that wrap. If you're watching this channel for the first time and you haven't already, and you want to, boom, please subscribe.